This is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV.com, and today, as my special guest, we have a new star of SWE Fury. She's going to be appearing in Irving, Texas on February the 6th. More information at SWEFury.com. She's appeared in WWE as well and a lot of other promotions that we're going to get into today. Renee Michelle, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. How do you do?
I'm doing excellent. You have definitely one of the top hair in female wrestling in 2021.
Yes, I decided to go honey. I wore honey 15 years ago, and I was very iffy to go back to it, but a friend of mine convinced me, and I'm back to being honey again.
Have you ever got hair pulled out in a match?
Oh yeah. I think each and every girl had like a hair, a weave, an extension, tape extension, something's pulling out or get caught. I also got my hair caught in a turnbuckle before.
Oh, that sounds very painful.
Yeah, if it's not a turnbuckle, it's either the rope. If it's not a rope, it's either like your gear or the opponent's gear, because like us ladies, we like to have like rhinestones and stuff here and there.
It's true. Now, where did you grow up? I know you're in Florida now. Have you always lived in Florida?
Well, I have family down here in Florida. I was raised a little bit here in Florida and Miami, and then most of my life I was born in Washington D.C. and most of my life I lived up in the DMV area.
Now, what sports did you play when you were growing up? I understand you were always an athlete.
Yes, I did martial arts, I did track, I did volleyball, I did cheerleading. My mother was my cheerleading coach, and she was very strict. I also, like the martial arts that I've done and I grew up was Taekwondo, Muay Thai, Choli Fut, which is Kung Fu, capoeira of weapons. The weapons that I have done was spear, sash, and sais. And I actually wanted to get into stunts and acting, doing stunts, but I fell into wrestling, and I caught the wrestling bug ever since then.
As far as the weapons that you did, is there anyone that you actually preferred over the others?
I would say the spear.
Interesting. Ever thought of bringing one out to the ring?
No, I never did, because my girlfriend of mine, like Zia Lee, now she's starting to do weapons, which is great for her. Like I think that's definitely like great for her character and showing that, with her heritage and everything. Because it's like, I do enjoy it. I absolutely enjoy it, but unless I'm dressing up like a Mortal Kombat character, no.
As far as Taekwondo, did you actually enter the tournaments where you'd be sparring with other girls, or was it more just hanging out in the dojo?
I was definitely went to many competitions like all around the United States, as well as I did had an opportunity to go and train over in Korea. That was during the time when I was 14. So it's like a training summer camp and competition over there, but my mother was not having it. She did not want me to be overseas in a foreign country by myself.
No, in Korea, I know that's probably not the North Korea, but still that's a long way away in a totally different culture.
Yeah, well, with cultures, I'm pretty adaptable, but at 14, I highly doubt any parent was gonna have that.
Did you travel much before you got into wrestling?
No, besides like seeing my family, but other than that, no, I take that back. I did went to the Philippines. So I went to the Philippines and I went to Boracay. So I actually enjoy it there.
Now, for cheerleading in Canada here, we don't really have it as a high school sport or anything like that. Could you tell us a little bit about what cheerleading is like in the US?
And cheerleading?
Yes, I know it's a
Okay,
big sport.
so there's two different types of cheerleading. Like the cheerleading that I grew up on was actually like competition and everything. It's not like what you see like on football or, those are like more the dancers type, but the cheerleading that I have done growing up where like you go to different states and you compete against different schools or different teams throughout the United States. So it was pretty intense.
So was there males and females on the team, and like they're in charge of catching you?
Yes, I was a flyer.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Is that ever any scary moments doing that?
I was pretty much of a daredevil. I didn't mind being like flipped up in the air and doing backflips or, balancing on one leg and spinning and stuff. So I actually enjoy it.
Did you ever do any modeling?
Oh, for the modeling, I did not get into modeling until I hit around 18. And a girlfriend of mine, she convinced me like, hey, why don't you get into modeling? Because I started out doing hot import nights, which was like street racing cars, and I think they contacted me and they asked me like, hey, would you be interested in doing modeling? And I was very much of a tomboy. I was more so into cars than I was into like being a model. But I tried it out, and I think that's what kind of helped me get into a little bit of my girly trait. But other than that, I don't. Look, I was like a newborn giraffe trying to learn how to be a lady. so, so I mean, if it wasn't without modeling and etiquette and taking etiquette, being dragged into it, and I who knows how my behavior would have been.
That's funny. With that martial arts background, and you ended up getting into wrestling, did you ever get into any real confrontations when you were younger?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely for sure. I was an older sister, so if I saw my little brothers, being beat up, I mean, I remember my mother had like a phone call from the school telling, and I was quiet. I was very quiet. I was very shy, and I saw like my brother being bullied in school, and I didn't take that too well. So of course, can you imagine me like being little and young and fighting two boys at the same time and then being pulled to the principal's office and like, you need to come get your daughter, even though what she did was right. We're not gonna lie, but she can't be doing that. It's like they're bullying my brother. No, I'm not gonna tolerate that.
Well, that's impressive. Did
Yeah.
you win? Did you manage to beat up those two?
Yeah. Yeah. But they were really shocked because they're like, Renee, she's quiet. But I guess that's the saying, it's the quiet ones you gotta watch out for.
Did you ever consider at all getting into MMA rather than wrestling? Because now it's become so popular, and there's a lot of actually attractive women in MMA. It's not just the less attractive ones anymore.
Um, no, actually, it didn't cross my mind because like I love martial arts. I never thought about um being in an octagon. Like I grew up like watching like Karate Kid and like sticking to that, or it's like or Mortal Kombat, like the old school type of fighting. But other than that, I mean, MMA didn't cross my mind, and I didn't get into wrestling until I was like I want to say 25, 26. So I don't think I'm like as useful as I used to be, when I started out at 4, and up.
I have to ask you if you've been watching the Cobra Kai series on Netflix.
Yes, it brings back so much memories.
Did you have a favorite Karate Kid before the Cobra Kai series started?
I mean, as far as my favorite martial artist,
Oh no, I like your favorite Karate Kid movie. I know they had the one with the girl, and then there was three with
I gotta stick with the old school Karate
yeah.
Kid. I gotta stick with Danny LaRusso and Mr. Miyagi. Like sometimes, like the old school, movies, like no, don't redo it. Just leave it as it is.
But since you mentioned your favorite martial artist, who would it have been?
Um, Jet Li.
Oh, cool. Could you see yourself actually going into acting more now that you're not with WWE or anything like that? Would you possibly pursue like martial arts movies or roles like that in the future?
Maybe down the line, but I haven't really given that much thought. But like I don't mind it either. I'm pretty sure if I brush up again, it's probably like spark back.
There's a fan on here watching from New Zealand. Benson, he wants to say hello. A bunch of fans saying hello to you. And another guy, Ibzan, wants to know if you ever met Alundra Blaze.
Yes, she's hot. She's awesome.
How did that meeting come about?
Oh gosh, I think we were on the same show with one another, and her and I like when I saw her, her and I just instantly click. Like I think that she's really, really down to earth. She's so welcoming and like she loves to be able to help like upcoming females, and try to guide them the right way, the right path. And she's a girl's girl.
Now, I understand you got into wrestling a bit of a weird way. You weren't a wrestling fan or anything like that. And strangely enough, Gilbert recruited you. Could
Yeah.
you tell us that story?
So how that came about was my ex-boyfriend during the time because I was so busy with work and I was, busy with college and also busy with acting and doing the stunts and everything that my ex, he was like, look, you're not spending any time with me. The only time I'm able to spend time with you if I took you here. So you're coming with me and our mutual friends. And I'm like, okay, you know. So the first show that I ever went to was Impact, and I had no idea who is who, and I didn't grow up watching wrestling. I didn't even know who was like Hulk Hogan or the Ultimate Warrior or anything like that, because like I grew up, with a military family and government family, so we just always focus on work, work, work. So they thought it was kind of strange of me like landing into acting and doing that and balancing work and college all at once. But I was there at Impact and I didn't understand it. During the time I'm like, I don't understand this. This is like a bunch of big guys, muscular, sweaty guys in their underwear, just wrestling each other. I'm gonna go get some nachos and jalapenos and I'm just gonna, stuff my face on that. And as I was in the line, I just saw like this old elderly bald man start running at me with papers in his hand, and his name was Gilbert, and I had no idea who he was either. So he was like, you have a really unique look. You look like you're really fit in shape. Have you ever thought about getting into wrestling? And I told him no. And he asked me what was my name. And I told him it was Renee Michelle, because that's the name that I've always went by, which is my first and middle name. Yet not too many people know that. And I keep saying no to him, and he was like really adamant about it, and I'm like, look, like it's just not gonna happen. But then he found me on social media and he kept asking and pursuing some more, and I'm like, look, I'll give it a try, and if I don't like it, then that's it. He's like, yes, just give it a try, just see if you like it. I think that you're a really good fit for it, yada yada yada. So I tried it out. It reminded me very much of like with stunts and martial arts into it. And, I kind of catch the wrestling bug from there.
Would that have been an Impact show in Orlando that you went to?
No, it was actually an Impact show. I think it was in Maryland, somewhere in Maryland,
Okay.
some godforsaken place in Maryland.
Back when they toured, so that was quite a while ago. What year would that have been in?
uh, Maybe towards the end of 2012. It was
Okay.
towards the end of 2012.
Did you at all find Gilbert creepy, like at first wondering why is this older guy bothering me and looking me up on social media?
Yeah, I sure did. I did think that. I was like, what the heck? Like you're pretty determined. Good Lord. Like, I was like,
He had a good eye for talent, but yeah, I could see how that might turn out bad if it wasn't like a legitimate person trying to recruit you.
Yeah, I was like, he's not giving up. Like he's just not.
What's he like, anyways? I've never met him, but I've heard a lot of good reports about him.
During the time when I first met him and stuff, he was really nice. He was really nice. But then it's unfortunate because like the 3 months that I was there at his school, it shut down. And you know, but luckily during the time I was able to meet like a really, really good guy named Dan McDevitt who opened up MCW, Maryland Championship Wrestling. And he's always been like a wrestling dad to me. He took me underneath his wing. And, he guided me the right path.
What was the hardest part about training to be a wrestler?
Yeah. What's the hardest? Well, me, because it's like, I guess because in the very beginning, I didn't had like the right, there was no book, there was no pamphlet. So trying to figure out what is a good legitimate school, to attend to get the proper training, that will be hard, in the very beginning. And then you have to have like a lot of determination and drive for this business and a lot of sacrifices. So a lot of people, don't realize, or I mean, they see the glitz and the glam and all of that jazz, but it's a lot to put up with in the beginning. Either that, it's kind of like with me. I mean, my situation was different because the 3 months that I was training, I was thrown in. And I was thrown into the ring, and I felt like I wasn't even ready. I thought that you have to like wait for like a whole year, before you get presented out there to the public or anything. But you know, um, yeah, you just never know. It's like a sink or swim.
Yeah, I think my first match was after like 3 or 4 training sessions, and it took me actually a few years to get good. So it's probably the same with you. You
Yeah.
probably took a while to develop into a decent wrestler.
Yeah, and it's like I'm still a baby, like I'm still learning. I'm only like my first match was March 29, 2013, and you'll never forget your first match. But also on top of that, I still have a lot to learn. I'm still a baby in this, like, you know.
Yeah. David A wants to know if you've ever wrestled La Rosa Negra.
Yes, I just recently wrestled La Rosa Negra, and then I wrestled her many years back. I love being in the ring with her. She is so charismatic, and she has a lot of energy. You need to like with her. You don't even need like a shot of espresso dealing with her because she's a handful herself.
I know she's from Puerto Rico, and
Yeah.
obviously she wrestled a lot out there. Have you ever wrestled on the island?
Actually, like was it this year or last year? Last year or this year, I was supposed to go to Puerto Rico, but then COVID, so all of that had to be canceled.
Yeah, it's brutal. I'm sure it's affected your bookings a lot. Have you been wrestling much since the lockdown? I know in Florida, things are still pretty open, but overall, there's a lot less work out there.
I'm more picky, and the reason why I'm more picky because I have family members that are older. I don't want to like be selfish and put them at risk, and let alone on top of that is like my immune system is not the strongest either. So I became more picky on where I want to work at and who I want to work with. Because either that some people you hear stories about some people that they do have it and they don't tell others, or they don't know that they have it until it's too late, or you know
Yeah,
it's one
you
of
have
those
to be
situations. It's
careful.
hard.
And on the independent scene, not all the companies are testing, so you got to be really.
Yeah.
Vo Hall X is asking how you met Drake Maverick, who you had that famous wedding with.
Oh my gosh. So my husband. So I met him. Actually, we met like kind of like officially on a blind date, and it was because of Matt and Rebby Hardy. So basically, my husband, he slid into my DMs, and this was during a time when I had darker hair and I have like native, Native American feathers in my hair and stuff. And the first thing that he said to me was, "Hello, Pocahontas lady." And I thought it was the most cheesiest, corniest thing ever. And I'm like, who is this guy? But um, we started like, texting back and forth, and he was pretty witty. He's pretty clever. He was a gentleman and all that other stuff. And I come to find out that he worked at Impact. And so the only people that I knew that I was really close with that worked at Impact was Matt and Rebby. And so I asked Rebby, I'm like, hey, like, let me ask you a question. Who is this guy and what's the tea on him and everything else? She got so excited. She gave me all the tea. She told me everything. So I had a girlfriend of mine. I thought that he was like living over in England because, he's British. I don't know how that works out or whatever. But I was out in Nashville. It was a girlfriend of my birthday. And it was like a birthday weekend because she's originally from Nashville. So she dragged me out to Nashville, to show me like where she grew up and all this other stuff. And, like it's a girls' weekend. So having fun and everything. So I guess on Instagram where you video like where you're at and all this other jazz. So he asked me like, "Hey, where are you?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm in Nashville." He's like, "That's where I live," and I like my heart just sunk, So I'm like, I'm texting her like, "How come you didn't tell me he lived in Nashville?" Da 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 da. So she's like, "Well, yeah, he's always lived there. Like, where are you?" And I'm like, "I'm in Nashville." So she just got super excited. She go, "Oh my god, you guys got to meet. You guys got to meet right now." So I was like, "No, I'm not ready for this." So she set it all up, and we were able to meet each other face to face in person.
Wow, that's quite interesting, actually. I never would have guessed you would have met through the Hardys or through,
Yeah.
anyways. How did you become in with Matt Hardy and his wife?
Matt and his wife, I met Matt when when he was doing the indies, and he came to NCW. So I met Matt and Jeff during the time. And then I wrestled his wife because Rebby, she used to wrestle. And her and we used to wrestle each other. So relationship developed from that. Like Rebby, I absolutely have mad respect for her. She is a firecracker, and I love that about her. She just tell it like it is, and if you don't like it, but that's that Puerto Rican fire in her.
What's Matt like outside of the ring?
Oh, he's so chill. He's so relaxed. He's so chill. He loves wine. So
Really interesting. I guess I'm going to guess you like wine too.
yes,
What do you prefer, red or white overall?
I like a red blend.
Interesting. Now, NWL was a company that had some potential. I guess it had good investors, and they had a TV show and everything. I believe they were based in Missouri, and you were one of the stars of NWL. Could you tell us how you became involved with that company and what that promotion was like to work for?
NWL.
Yes.
Oh gosh, my memory is not that great. Is what year? What year was that?
Let me see here. I think it would have been around maybe 2014, 2015, possibly.
Yeah, it was great. I actually had a really good time. Forgive me that my memory is not the greatest. like, like too many bumps, man. It's too many bumps.
I don't blame you at all. I guess your first WWE appearance would have been as one of the Rosebuds with Adam Rose. How
Yes,
did that situation happen?
I had a lot of fun. During the time, I guess like when WWE was traveling all over. Um, I think they had like they try to rotate different extras wherever city or state that they may be. And I showed up there, and of course, like you want to give like a first good impression, so you want to look good from head to toe and respectable and well mannered. And at the end of the day, it's also like, a way to get seen and be able to collect that paycheck too. But I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. I didn't mind like dancing around.
Did they give you a match or anything before the taping?
Yes, there's dark matches.
How did
So
that go?
it went really well. Like it all depends on what they're looking for. You never know, what type of character that they're looking for, what type of certain look that they're looking for. So it is a hit or miss on that. Like, I mean, maybe they're looking for a taller chick, maybe they're looking for a shorter chick, maybe they're looking for a bigger or a more buff looking individual. So with them, you just never know. It's right timing. The timing is just, it's the right place, right time.
Was there any wrestlers backstage at that time that were already with WWE that gave you any advice or anything like that?
Yeah, they said like, keep continuing on doing what you're doing, and stay humble and, professional, and develop like a good relationship with everyone. You don't want to like bother people too much, especially like when they're working, because at the end of the day, it is a work environment. And you don't want to seem like too content or or looking too lazy or anything like that. I mean, you want to be able to present yourself as if you belong there. So look the par. I mean, you wouldn't. I mean, if you're trying to go into corporate America, right, you have to wear a suit. If you're trying to get like any type of job, you have to look the par. So I'm expecting as well with wrestling, look presentable.
So you were eventually brought back to be in the May Young Classic, which was a big deal. What was your reaction when they contacted you for that? And is that something that they kind of surprised you with, or had you applied for it?
I was surprised. I was surprised that they contacted me for that, and I was like thinking to myself, like, oh, I wish I got in more shape. But this is a saying that you just never know when they're ever going to hit you up. So that I have learned that real quickly. And when I did the Mayon Classic, I personally, me, and then maybe this is just my own nitpickiness. I wish that I was more in shape, than I how I look right now. But I think I was like in that range of like trying to gain weight, but then also, what do you call it, bulk up season when you're bulking up and then you want to like cut down. So I was in the midst of that, but I absolutely loved it. I had a really, really good time. And it was very nerve wracking for me because Japanese television and American TV, how the way they work the cameras and everything is completely different.
So I guess that means you'd wrestled in Japan by that time.
I think I just got back not too long ago from Japan. And I know, like, being over in Japan, they prefer their girls. I know, like, me dealing with Chiguza, she had to always get me to eat because, if you're too skinny, you're less likely to get hurt. I mean, no, you're more likely to get hurt, but if you have some weight on you and everything, then you're less likely to get hurt. So she was always constantly feeding me. But then it's like when I go to America, I lose a lot of weight. But then when I go back to Japan, I start gaining the weight. But then she had such a struggle of me keeping the weight on me. So she had to feed me like extra, because I'm always burning.
How did you like the wrestling style over there in Japan, where it's a little bit harder hitting than in the US?
Okay, so here's the thing with that. I consider that, I mean, back in the day, yes, but as far as I know, what Chigusa told me is that she wished that she knew what she knew now, because the woman has 17 different surgeries on her. I think right now 18. So she tries to teach the girls now that you can still look like you're hitting and knocking each other out. It takes, you know, a a partner to be able to sell that really good for you. You don't want to like beat each other and get battered so you have a shorter career. You want your career to last longer.
How was the culture over there to deal with? And obviously the food, it's a little bit different food over there.
I loved it. I loved it. I didn't mind the culture. I didn't mind the food. I absolutely love it. I mean, luckily, like I took Japanese when I was in college. So I passed, so it was beneficial for me. I never thought I ever had to utilize Japanese. But, when I did took when Chikuza did come to America and she was holding out a tryout, I did everything that she needed me to do, but then a lot of people, they cut their promos in English. So I'm like, what, let me just change it up a bit. And I did one in Japanese.
Did you have any sponsors over there that would take you out to eat?
No, it's no. Chiguza. Like we all like eat together, sleep together, bathe together, everything like one big family together. I think like Stardom, how the way they run things is very differently than Marvelous. Marvelous is more of like an old lifestyle, like old Joshi kind of lifestyle, which I don't mind. I during the time I did, like Stardom was interested in me as well as Marvelous, but because of Chiguza and her name and who she is in the background and the history of her, I decided to go with Chiguza. Like Chiguza, she's also a tag team partner with Lioness Asuka. They were known as the Crush Girls back in the day. And Chiguza, she's a former owner, of Gaia, which is Gaia Girl. So that history and that background alone, I wanted to learn solely from her. And then let alone on top of that, she never had a foreign student, like, any foreign student ever. So I was the first.
How did you get recruited into that?
Hmm? I'm sorry.
Like, you were the first foreign student. So how did you get recruited into that to get that honor of being the first foreign student training there?
Well, I passed the tryout. So when she saw that I could also speak Japanese, I'm like, okay, then I could be able to communicate.
Now you did mention bathe together. I gotta ask what that means.
Oh, it's exactly what I meant. It's exactly what I meant.
What, there's like one big shower room?
Yeah, it's like you have the big giant tub and then you have the multiple showers. And this is what I did not know because, and I wish, so I'm standing there taking a shower and everything. And next thing I know, a bunch of the other girls start coming in. So of course my eyes are big, bulging out of my eyes, and I'm just standing there. And they were just nonchalantly just taking a shower, on different shower heads. I'm like, so we're doing this. This is a thing. Okay. We're really doing this. Okay. So I'm like, just look straight ahead. Just look straight ahead. But other than that, I mean, it was an interesting experience. It was like, I guess like a lot of, especially like a lot of the younger girls, they never seen someone of more of a curvier figure. So they were asking all sorts of questions.
Such as,
Yeah, they were like, they were so innocent, you can't, they're so innocent. They're like, oh, like they're like poking like, your derriere or you're poking like your boob. They're like, is this real or fake? Is this real or fake? Like, why is it so big? Like, why your waist so skinny and your hip bigger? And I'm like, genetics.
what is your background, anyways? Because yeah, you do have a very curvaceous body. That's one of the things you're known for.
Oh, really? I am? I didn't
Yeah,
even know that. Like, I didn't even know that. So as far as I've been told, and I do want to take like a 23andMe. So I was told I'm mixed with Cuban, Native American, Italian, Black, Irish, Spanish, Cherokee. Well, that's Native, French and German. But on the Cherokee is like Aniwaha, and then Lenape. I hope I'm saying it right. But yeah,
that is
I
definitely.
would say I think I got my butt from my dad because my dad, he's like a big big 6'2" muscular, like, Black and Native American man. So it's like
What do your parents think about you wrestling?
at first my mother was completely against it because she felt like it wasn't ladylike. And bear in mind that it was like I said, I grew up, in a military and government household. So their idea of, you know, of an actual, what they deem as a job, or a career was not wrestling.
Now, of course, with SWE Fury, Jazz is the director of women's talent, and you're appearing there February 6th, just outside of Dallas. Have you met Jazz before? And if so, what do you think of her as a wrestler and a person?
Oh, yes, I did meet her and I wrestled her. I wrestled her on Impact against Jordan Grace and her, and I had Killer Kelly and I. And that woman, she is something else. She busted my face. Okay, that was so rude. She busted my beautiful face, and I had no idea that I was supposed to go up against her. And here she comes out of like a banshee out of the night, you know. But she's definitely intimidating in the ring. I give her props. She still got it. She still got it.
Was that a recent match, I guess?
Yes,
Okay, I
yes,
didn't know you had wrestled for Impact recently.
yes, yes. I just recently wrestled for Impact.
Oh, that's cool. So, yeah, that's quite a return to wrestling, fighting Jazz and Jordan Grace.
Yes.
Are you surprised that Jazz returned to wrestling after her retirement that lasted about a month? Or did you even know about it?
I didn't even know about it.
No.
But it felt, I mean, heck, I mean, like, I think, like, as many times as she's trying to retire, they keep calling her back for more. So I make that money, boo boo, you know?
Now, Christy Janes is the SWE Fury Women's Champion. Are you familiar with her at all?
Yes, I just recently wrestled her at Hurricane Pro, and that was in Beaumont, Texas. I love Chrissy. She's an absolute doll, and I can't wait to be in the ring with her again. Maybe I could take that title away from her.
That would be interesting. Of course, they have Sue Young, they have Lacey Von Erich coming back, Shaul Guerrero, Miranda Gordy, so many great female stars in SWE Fury. Are you excited to be part of this women's division?
Oh, absolutely. I can't wait to get in the ring again with like a few of the girls, and I can't wait to be in a ring with some of the girls that I haven't be able to have the opportunity to wrestle. Like I wrestle Shaw, so I love being in the ring with her. She's just like our daddy. She cheated. She cheated. She cheats just like our daddy.
She's great at promos too. I saw her promo for her upcoming appearances. I think she's on both the February 6th and February 27th shows, and yeah, she's great. Amber Nova is also coming. Are you familiar with her at all?
Yes, we have wrestled each other in the past.
So you might go up against her again.
Who
Uh,
knows? I
someone
think
had asked.
I think
Sorry.
like the only person that I haven't wrestled yet was Sue Young. I
Okay.
haven't wrestled her yet. No. No, I have not wrestled her yet.
Now, a bunch of the fans on here are asking about the wedding that was interrupted on WWE TV. Was that your real wedding, or was that just a thing that WWE set up?
No. That was my real wedding. Okay, so this is how it is. My husband and I, we have been married since 2017. And we have family all over the place. So of course we want to be able to get the family all together. So we dealt with, the clerk of the court, the court thing. So we're like, you know what? Since my mother, she wants me to be able to walk down the aisle. I am the only daughter. And that is her dream, is to see her daughter walk down the aisle. So you know what? Let's just do this whole wedding and everything else, to make my mother happy, make my grandma happy, the women in the family very happy. That's what they truly want. And I had no problem doing that. I planned the wedding and it took me a whole year. I didn't have a wedding planner or nothing. Like every detail to a T, I had to plan everything. But as far as I know, I did not know about the filming. I thought the till 2 days prior to the wedding. I did not know about the details, before an hour and a half to 2 hours of me walking down the aisle. But the amount of detail I did not know. So I thought it was gonna be like one of those filming, like Sarah Logan and her man, and no, that did not happen. That completely went out the window. My grandma, she was so mad. If looks can kill, and she's an 85-year-old, Christian school teacher. She was not happy at all. But yeah, my wedding was ruined, and I still have a big black footprint on the back of my dress, and my veil ripped. And my bridesmaids didn't want to tell me, so they told me after the wedding, But yeah, they did ruin my wedding.
How did you come up with the design for that dress? That was quite elaborate.
Thank you. So I had the dress custom made in England, because so there was like a lot of details that represents like James and I. He's from England, I'm from America. I had the dress custom made over in England. It was about 9 feet long, and it was very, very heavy. So I was wearing a petticoat and a corset, and the dress also had an extra corset and a petticoat, built-in petticoat with that. So I was wearing double the corset, double the petticoat, and I couldn't breathe, and it was extremely heavy. So as for the veil, I sketched up the veil how I wanted to look like, and I got the materials and everything, and I had it made. So the veil is like American made. The dress is from England. The necklace and everything represent my religion, which is Santeria, or Lukumi, how people would say it. The Just in case if I was to ever have a daughter, and if she doesn't want to wear a red dress, then that's why I had the tiara custom made. So the tiara will be passed down to, if I was to have a daughter, on her big wedding day.
Very interesting. So did WWE end up at least paying you guys something towards the wedding for that whole interference that they did?
I don't know, but I know the wedding was a tax write-off.
Okay, well that's good.
Because
So
I was fuming. Let's just say I was fuming.
did your husband have to convince you of that? Or was this something that did he bring it to you or did WWE bring the idea to you?
No, he brought it to me, and it was kind of, like when you want to say no, but you kind of put on a spotlight, and you're like, okay, he put me on the spotlight.
So after all that, they ended up briefly releasing your husband. Did that kind of make you even more mad about that? Because it's like you just ruined my wedding and now you're gonna.
Yeah, like, where's the love? Where's the love of it all? My weddings got ruined. My husband, like chasing after the belt. I still haven't gone on my honeymoon. We've been married since 2017, and I still haven't gone. We had the wedding and everything, and I still haven't gone. And I'm pretty sure everyone's wondering, have we consummated the marriage? I'm not giving nothing up until the honeymoon.
Very interesting. Okay. I didn't expect to hear that.
Yeah, it's a bunch of bull. It's a bunch of bull. But let alone on top of that, yeah, he was released. Unfortunately he was released. And pandemic, man, like everyone was being released left and right, so me being a supportive wife, I'm like, look, whatever decision that you so choose to do after this, I'm gonna back you up 100%. We can go to England, because I did go to England. I love it there. He's not so much of a fan of it. I am. So I'm ready to, like, we can always move to England. So, but when he made his promo, and it was during the release of others, we did not know of other people that was being released in the process of it all. There was more people that was being released. So when he put it out there, it created a big buzz with his video, because he was genuinely being himself, and he was telling it like it is. He was being his raw self, how he feel and all this other stuff. And if if he was to go back to Impact, that's fine. If AEW was to pick him up, that's fine too. If we were have to like move to England, I'm fine with that too. So wherever that he goes, I'm going to go. So WWE, they called him and go like, look, like we realized that you were supposed to do this tournament. You know, it's your choice if you want to do the tournament or not. And James, either that you can make something, you know, because it created quite a stir with his video. So James, he could have said no, I'm not doing the tournament, especially after you release me. But he decided to do it, and it showed a lot of, you know, character within himself. And I'm very proud of him for that.
Are you the one that recorded the promo?
No, like he was so distraught that he said, like, look, Renee, I just like hang out at the balcony. I just needed a few moments, you know. And so I decided just, you know, have a cup of tea, hang out on the balcony while he have to do what, you know, what he thought his thought process was, you know, and expressing his release to and to the world. You know, it's just it's like, gosh, you're like, it's like your whole world's crashing down around you when you get released because you've been always on the go, go, go. And then when COVID hit, it's just like everything just crashed around you. So um, I'm glad that he did put that video out there. Some people, they may say, like, oh, like that was very, you know, they think it was fake. No, he really did got released. You know, they thought it was really messed up. Some others probably say it was really messed up that he utilized that video, you know, because others were getting released. Well, you know what, either that you can make something of it or you could just be quiet and disappear in the night, you know. So my husband, he decided to do that video, put it out there, make something of it, especially when the whole rise, you know, of it all, like people being released left and right. Like, what can you do? You know, why would you just sit there and not say anything at all if you could just say something, express how you truly feel, you know?
Did they end up just reinstating the contract he already had, or did he get a new contract out of that?
I didn't get to read the contract, so I don't know. And I haven't even asked him either,
Oh,
you
interesting.
know? So it's like, I trust his business move. You know, he's very business oriented, so I trust whatever decision that he makes. You know, he makes sure that he's financially, mentally, and everything else secure. You know, I trust him.
And of course, he was the only one signed back out of all of those people that were released, and it was a bunch of them. I forget how many, but I think
It
it was
was
at
a
least
bunch.
60.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. Yeah, it was a handful. I didn't even count how many were released, honestly. But you know, I mean, dude, like, would probably do the same thing? It's like, okay, I got released. What can I do in this situation while it's hot right now?
Yeah, there's no question he got his job back, and there's not that many jobs in wrestling, really, as you know, that like pay really well. So he made the right decision. Andrew wants to know how come you never signed full time with WWE. I'm sure you don't know the answer to that
I
question.
don't, I don't know. Like a lot of people thought I was signed. I was never signed. You know, I got paid per appearance. But I mean, if like I said, with WWE, you never know what they're looking for. You know, like maybe I'm not a certain look that they're looking for. Maybe I'm not a certain height that they're looking for. You just never know. You could be the juiciest, ripest peach in the world, but not everyone will like ripe, juicy peaches.
Yeah, juicy and ripe is a good word to describe you from some of those bikini pictures that I've seen. Jake wants to know out of any wrestler, man or woman, who would you most want to get in the ring with?
Oh, man or woman? Did it have to be dead or alive?
Well, how about dead and alive? You can have two answers.
Okay, so who I would love to be in the ring with? Well, who is alive. Okay, we're gonna go with Asuka, and the reason why I would say Asuka is because she got inspired by Lioness Asuka, which is Shikusa Nagayo's tag team partner. So that will be at the top of my list. I wouldn't mind being in the ring again with Mickey James or Melina. Like I love being in the ring with them too. As someone that is a guy, I would say Eddie Guerrero, but it was an honor as well wrestling his daughter Shaw. So Eddie Guerrero. I also like the style of like Jushin Thunder Liger. Um, ooh, well, I mean, Sensational Sherry, I like, and HBK.
Very interesting. And of course, Melina is going to be at the February 27th SWE Fury show. So I know you're not on
Yeah.
that one, but maybe in the future, you and Melina might have an encounter in SWE Fury. And I know the promoter wanted me to also mention that Terry Funk's going to be at the February 27th event. They're really stacking the roster lately.
Man, how come all the good ones are being there on the 27th? Why can't they be there on the 6th?
Well, Mark Henry's there on the 6th, and there's a lot.
Okay.
De La Renta is going to be there managing the Blood Hunter. There's going to be a lot of interesting events coming up. So I'm sure you'll be back. Just make sure you win the match on the 6th.
I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do my best. Man, I wish. I mean, unfortunately, I'm booked on the 26th. Man, that sucks. But at least I get to see Dark Chocolate Papa Bear.
There
At least I
you
get
go.
to see. At least I get to see him on the 6th. So
And of course, Teddy Long too. He's the.
yes, Teddy.
I
I
noticed
love
he
Teddy.
shared this interview already on Facebook, so he might be watching this.
Hi Teddy.
Hydra SX wants to know who you had your best match with.
My best. Oof. My best match. See, that's a really good question. My best match. That is hard because I am such a perfectionist, so I don't mm, mm, I don't know. I don't know which one would be my best match because I'm always feel like there's something that I could have improved on.
Well, similar question. Bobby wants to know your favorite match. Your favorite could be different than your best.
My favorite match. Oh, I would say it was Melina and I wrestle each other at MCW. And also no, Barbados. We were both wrestle each other in Barbados.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't even know they had wrestling in Barbados. How did that?
Oh, it went great. So Barbados did not have wrestling since 1989. And last year before the pandemic, they were able to bring wrestling back there again. So Melina and I, we were able to wrestle each other. So it was great. It was awesome. And it was like, it was a breath of fresh air to be able to bring wrestling to that to them. They never seen it in person. I mean, 1989, so it's like been a long time.
So I guess the crowds were pretty good then too.
Yeah.
And of course, that's a great place to visit.
Yes, and it's so funny because it's like, of course, like I'm the heel, but it's like they actually knew about like the storyline with my husband and I. Go like, you didn't consummate your marriage. Like, shut up. Like,
That's funny.
so like, how did he get all the way out there?
Now, I don't know if you have an answer to this, and I don't even know what this means, but Funky Fresh Rhyme wants to know who is the stankiest wrestler you have ever shared this squared circle with.
Oh, I will not name no names, but she's from let's just say she's around the like DMV area, but I will not name any names.
There you go. Very classy lady you are. Chris Norman says, hi, Renee. Have you ever worked with Alicia Edwards or Ashley Vox?
I wrestled actually. Wait, I think I wrestled the Sea Stars. I think I wrestled. No. I think I wrestled Ashley Vox before. I have not been in the ring with Alicia Edwards, but I would love to be in the ring with her. But Ashley Vox, yes, I have. I think.
Angel Hernandez asks if you're a fan of Leva Bates.
Leva Bates, I love Leva. She is adoring. I would love to be in the ring with her. She makes me laugh and she's so optimistic and she's so carefree. And I like the fact that, she's able to do like, the different characters, especially like for anime fanatics, I mean, that's great. I would not, I wish I was that clever to thought about like maybe I should like I mean, I used to be into anime. I used to be into anime. I used to draw and everything all the time. But to be able to be a cosplayer, that's like a whole nother level.
Yes, it is. And there's actually a SWE Fury wrestler, Vert Vixen, who's a cosplayer. I don't know if you've seen her, but she's actually a famous cosplayer.
Oh, and I know.
That is crazy. Those people that do that, and it's amazing how popular it is.
Yeah.
White
Nice.
Owl is asking. You started wrestling in the Northeast area. What was your favorite promotion there? Did you ever work for Shikara?
I never did work for Shakara, unfortunately. I didn't have the opportunity to work for Shakara, but I would say the most popular and the most favorite, up there was MCW, my hometown, Maryland Championship Wrestling.
Ramar T Fitness wants to know about the character that you portray in wrestling.
Which one now or before?
The one you're developing now, I guess.
Oh, so my husband, he's like, look, Renee, like, he gave me the idea to like really be myself. He said, like, you used to be a model and everything. Why don't you just generally just be yourself versus so much of like the Native American gimmick that you were doing it because you did it for so many years. So why don't you just be yourself and amp it up by 10? So my my character, my gimmick and everything, it's more like a model slash diva slash, like a bit of like a hint of Jessica Rabbit all in one.
Very interesting. Do you and your husband talk about each other's characters a lot like that and advise each other since you're both in the business?
Yes, he is a wrestling encyclopedia. That boy knows so much about wrestling. He watch it all day. He watch it all night. He even watch it when we're in bed. And that's his whole world is wrestling. He knew like if you were to ask him a match, he'll know what year, what date, and who was wrestling.
Interesting. Well, I guess he would need a girl like you then that's a little bit interested in the business because a lot of the girls I've dated would not put up with watching wrestling in bed, to say the least.
Like like I guess like with every couple is like you got to find out who's the one that's you're willing which crazy that you're willing to put up with, and that's just crazy, so I'm willing to put up with that.
Jefferson E. White wants to know if you would be open to having a bra and panties match.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Dennis has a good question here. I was actually thinking this myself. With all the time you spent in Japan, did you know Hana Kimura or her mother? Any memories of them? If yes.
Yes, I wrestle her mother. I wrestle her mother. And her mother, she's so kind, and her mother is definitely heartbroken what happened to her daughter. It's just online bullying, man. Like it's unnecessary and it's disgusting. And it speaks a paramount of, values of themselves and their character versus the other person. Like you never know what someone is going through. Even though the person may look pretty or they look like they're having a good life, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
Interesting.
Just like I mean, like for a prime example, like Robert Williams, he makes everyone laugh, right? But no one ever thought that he'll ever take his own life.
True. Yeah, I was shocked at that. Now, I
Yeah.
don't know if you remember Jeremy Prophet. He wrestles for our company here in Canada, Great North Wrestling.
Oh.
He's watching this and he says he was in a Royal Rumble with you in XWA, Rhode Island in
Oh
2014.
my God. Yes. Oh my God. Um, yeah, that's when I during that time, that's when I cut off all of my hair. I cut off all of my hair because I wanted to try like what do you call it, like a little bit of like a Holly Berry type of look. And yeah, I had so much fun. Those guys were awesome. It was my first time being there. I don't know. Like, hey, how you been?
Now that you mention Halle Berry, I can see the resemblance there. What about wants to know, or he says you were a natural with your WWE acting? And Jesus Vargas says, is there any possibility of seeing you in AEW?
Hey, like you just never know where I might be at. I mean, if the money's right, you know. But I'm not picky. You know, I genuinely enjoy wrestling. So whether if it was with WWE or Impact or AEW, like it don't matter to me. Like it really doesn't matter to me.
Mark M wants to know how is teaming with Nyla Rose and Beyond Wrestling and wrestling Alicia and Taylor Hendricks in that tag team match. Taylor's very popular on this channel.
Oh yeah, I had fun. I had a good time. And wrestling Nyla Rose, I think there was like one match she picked me up and she threw me. Yeah. So dealing with Nyla and then having to bring her as well over into to Japan with me, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Now, this is a strange question from Big 21. Have sex with, marry, and or kill Moolah, Mae Young, or Sherry Martel?
Wait,
You
what?
like which one would you have sex with? Which one would you marry? Which one would you kill between Moolah, Mae Young, and Sherry Martel?
No comment.
Bit of a strange one. Um, Khaled Adam wants to know your experience as MCW Women's Champion.
It was great, you know, like I love NCW and I love Dan and you know, unfortunately like my first trainer there was RJ, also known as the Bruiser, and he passed away due to leukemia. But Bruiser and I, we like before his passing, we talked all the time, and you know, dealing with like Joe Keys and Ken Dixon. Those are my boys. Those are my guys. Like, you know, they're like family to me, and they were also there at the wedding as well. And being the constantly being like the MCW's champion, it means a lot to me because it's like, you know, I owe them a lot. And even though, you know, Dan, he tells me, no, you don't owe us anything. And granted, it's just that the fact that Dan, he didn't have to take me underneath his wing, you know. He took me in like as if I was his daughter. And that means a lot, you know, especially for someone who don't know nothing about wrestling.
Well, that
I
sounds
owe
like you represented them well.
Yeah, I owe that loyalty. He you know, that company and Dan, they were forever have my loyalty.
Now, someone mentioned earlier that they saw you appear at a show with your husband in the UK. What was it like wrestling in the UK?
I was training a little bit, but having to watch my husband wrestle out there, I think was that progress? Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, because I know like he had like he was doing multiple shows, but this was during the time when he was doing a gimmick um of where he had amnesia. So I thought that gimmick was very, very clever and it was fun because it was like he was acting as if he was like his younger self, where, you know, like a lot of young guys want to get in, they want to do a bunch of moves and they were like so passionate and so amped up about it. So you have like him as his old grizzled self, you know, saying like, you know, don't do a bunch of moves, you're an idiot, blah, 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 to where he got hit in the head. And then he revert himself back to like his 18-year-old self, you know, and be able to fit in his old gear and everything. I thought it was pretty classic and everyone loved it.
Malik wants to know who your favorite woman wrestler of all time is.
Who's my favorite woman wrestler? I will. Ooh, There's multiple. Not all time. I mean, I would say Sensational Sherry. I would say Natty. I would say Mickey James, Molina. I will also say I do like the way how like Alicia Fox work. Um, I would say my favorite wrestler of all time would definitely be my mentor from Japan, Chigusa Nagayo. And you know, if a lot of people have watched her match in the past, she is badass in the ring.
Somebody on here is asking if you've ever worked for Eve, Just Josh. I don't know what Eve is. Maybe it's a short term for Evolve.
No, I haven't worked for Evolve.
Interesting.
No, I have not. I have not. I wonder if that what Josh is asking.
Someone was asking earlier about Jerry Flynn, another martial artist that went into wrestling. Do you think he should be in the Hall of Fame? I don't know about that, but do you remember him at all from WCW? I know you weren't.
I didn't know anything about that.
Okay.
Remember, I told you I wasn't a wrestling fan.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I think that guy might be joking anyway. Sorry, Jerry Lynn.
Yeah, and it's like I'm still trying to catch up from like back in the day, so it's like it's hard to catch up to it all.
Dr. X wants to know if you have a YouTube channel.
I don't. Unfortunately, I don't.
Just Josh has clarified EVE is a UK wrestling promotion. Maybe in the future, when the lockdown ends, you'll see her over in the UK and maybe in Canada. Who knows?
Yeah, I did wrestle one time over in Canada.
Oh yeah, for which company?
I don't think it really was a company. It was Canada. Oh my God, it was back in 2014, and I don't know if you know this girl. I don't know if she still wrestles, but she was. I can only describe her. She was like tall. She kind of looked like really, really fit. She was like blonde hair. I have to ask you later because I'm like, do you know this girl? Like,
yeah, I'll look her up.
It was Canada Super Show or something like that.
Maybe it was a one-time show.
Yeah.
Lufisto is the champion of our company here in Canada. Have you ever?
Oh, I love Lucy.
Interesting.
Yes, I wrestled her before.
Was that in Shine?
No, that was actually with Shimmer. No, not Shimmer, but what was the other company that was with Shimmer? Gosh, you got me real good. No, it was in California. It was in California.
Okay.
AWS.
Yeah, she's great. And as I said, she's the champion of Great North Wrestling here in Canada. Sterling wants to know if you ever wrestled Heidi Katrina.
Heidi Katrina. No, I did not get the opportunity to wrestle her, but I did meet her when I was over in Japan. She's very sweet. She's very kind. She's hot.
Rec 46 says hello from the UK.
Hello.
Justin wants to know your favorite finishing moves.
My favorite finishing move? I mean, there's a lot that I could do. I mean, it's unfortunately because it's like my favorite finishing move. I would say a hangman's face buster, an arcana into oh my God, dude. I'm going brain dead. Arcana into a German suplex. What do you call it? Missile drop kick. Dragon Rana. It depends on the mood that I'm in.
But do you have a finishing move with a name to it and everything that would be your signature?
Well, yeah, I mean, that would be the Hangman's Facebuster, which I would probably call it Sweet Dreams.
Okay. Just a couple more questions here. Mark wants to know who is the biggest dick you've met backstage. You might not want to answer that one.
No comment.
Male
But
or
I met plenty.
yeah, in this business. Khaled wants to know your thoughts on Serena Deb, who's the NWA Women's Champion, and Thunder Rosa, the former NWA Women's Champion.
Yeah, Serena Dees, I absolutely love her. I have all the time in the world for her. You know, like sometimes, like her and I, we have like trained before she went to AEW. Her and I, we like sometimes train in the ring together, especially when she was about to have her AEW debut. I'm so proud of her. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're Serena Dees. And, you know, she thought that she doesn't have it. And being in the ring with her, I'm like, no, you're good, you're perfect, and seeing her debut there, I'm so happy for her.
Now, if people want to follow you on social media, do you have, I know you have Instagram and Twitter, but do you have a Pro Wrestling Tees store, anything like that too? Let us know where they could look you up.
You could definitely look me up on Facebook, which is /1 Renee Michelle, or you can find me on Instagram, which is Lady RM, and you can find me on Twitter, which is 1 Renee Michelle.
Someone wants to know if you think women in wrestling are treated equally to men. I think he's asking there.
Are women okay? So here's a good one. Are women treated the same way as men in corporate America?
Yeah, it depends on the corporation, to be honest with you.
Yeah. That's a good question. It really depends on the individual. Do I feel that women should get paid just the same amount as men to feel equal? Yes. But, also, given the circumstances, it's like I really thought, or maybe this might be an old school mindset of mine, is like whoever that is bringing fans, more or whatever, obviously are going to get paid more. So I thought that's how it works.
You might know this answer from your husband. It's Mike Bradley wants to know, is it true when you're signed to WWE, you can pick out anything you want from the WWE shop warehouse?
No.
Yeah, I couldn't see that happening either. So February 6th, you're going to be appearing SWE Fury, Irving, Texas, just outside of Dallas. Hopefully you'll be a regular there. I'll be there covering that event, so I'm actually gonna meet you there. But I guess you're pretty excited about that.
Yes, I am. I can't wait to see everybody. I can't wait to meet everyone.
I'll just throw this quick question in. It's an easy one from Justin. Favorite desserts?
Oh, favorite dessert. Ooh. Oh my gosh, I have a lot of favorite desserts. It's a Japanese crepe, Japanese crepe, and it has ice cream in it.
Sounds tasty.
You got to look it up. It's awesome. I don't know why they don't have this here in America. Like if someone made that here in America, they'll be making money.
Joe wants to see you against Maddie Renkowski from SWE. That would be a good one.
Yes, I wrestled Maddie before. She's loud. She's loud. She is just loud. She talks too much.
The Wrestling Knowledge wants to know your Mount Rushmore of wrestling. Do you have one that's like your top 4 favorites of all time?
Top 4 favorites? Men or women?
Maybe one for men and women, he's asking. So your top 4 men, top 4 women.
Okay, so my top 4 women will be Asuka, and then will be Natty, and it will be Chukuda Nagayo, and it will be mm, mm, Sensational Sherry. My top four men, I would say it will be Jushin Thunder Liger. It will be HBK, Chris Jericho, and let's go with a good one, shall we? Lex Luger.
Very interesting. I'm surprised at Lex Luger. I've actually interviewed him. He's a nice guy.
Dang, man, lucky you.
Yeah, he lives in Buffalo now. You mentioned before we went on the air, now even with the pandemic, things are still fairly open in Florida. So you're doing CrossFit and you're training at flatbacks
Yes.
for wrestling. Could you tell us a little bit about what the wrestling training is like, what you're doing now?
Oh, you know what? Can we do the top five? Top five for men. So it's like,
Oh yeah, sorry,
like
I already.
5 or 6. I am definitely like a fan of like Sean Spears and Tyler Breeze. Their wrestling. So at Flatbacks, my trainer are Tyler Breeze and Sean Spears, and I love those guys. They definitely help me out a lot with wrestling, and that's where I currently train as today. They're cool. They tell you how it is.
Tom wants to know if you have a favorite African American wrestler.
Absolutely, Alicia Fox.
It's not.
I love Foxy. I love me some Foxy.
That would be a good match. I'd like to see you against her.
I would love to be in the ring with her. Like I heard from her not too long ago. Yeah, she's doing well, but she's not trying to get sick. I would love to be able to be in the ring with her.
Any dieting tips? I know you have a good physique and your husband's got his full 8-pack of abs in. You must know some tricks.
I don't. Okay, you could blame that on genetics with me. With my husband, he has like a nutritionist. He also like him and his buddies, they go to the gym, and he has like whatever thing that's like to a science that's perfect for him, and whatever that he eats, is just flavorless food. Me, I like to eat everything, so I like to cook. So it's like, he gets mad at me because he sees me be able to eat everything.
This is an interesting question. Were you ever starstruck meeting a wrestler?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't. And maybe I probably like I probably like, some of the wrestlers be like, because I wasn't starstruck. I don't even get starstruck with actors. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all working hard, to make money. But it's like, I go based on an individual, how they treat others. So
Very interesting. Well, I thank you very much for your time. You've been very generous with us, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in person. The fans have liked it too. Lots of positive comments on here. Hermel wants to know if you had to kind of promo on the spot where you're at now, about where you're at now in your wrestling journey. What would you say? Well, hold on a second for that. Maybe you could end this interview off with a little promo to give us a taste of your promo skills about now going to SWE Fury February 6th. That would be pretty cool if you could do that.
that would be cool if I knew who I was going up against.
Well, maybe just a generic one about you want to come there and you're going to make a name for yourself in Texas, something along those lines.
All right. Let me see my terrible promo skills. Okay. Hi, this is your girl Renee Michelle, and I'm on my way to on February 6th to make my first debut at SWE. And here I am. I'm going to make an impact. I am going to be the top #1 female of the division, even if I have to kick one head at a time. Your girl, Renee Michelle.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe